I think if you want to look at cause and effect, the mandate is basically a symptom, right? The mandate is supposed to deal with the problem. So the problem is the pandemic.
Photos of empty grocery store shelves being shared by Alberta's premier, claiming they're in Edmonton and Medicine Hat, but not providing proof. But supply chain experts disagree with linking these photos to vaccine mandates from truckers on both sides of the border, saying it's too soon.
The message is that it's part of the pandemic situation that we're dealing with right now. Really, that's what it is. And once the pandemic is not so much behind it, but as we learn how to deal with it and so on, the system will adapt.
Professor Eddie Wong stresses the supply chain is not all transportation. Things like sick workers isolating because of COVID-19 in greater numbers with the Omicron wave disrupted the system, from production to warehouse, transportation, and those stocking grocery shelves. And while you may find items missing at one store fully stocked at the next, that's because they simply have different suppliers. And while the impacts of those border vaccine mandates aren't yet seen on the shelves, experts do say they're coming.
That retail prices are going to be impacted as a result. Not access, not supplies, price, and of course quality.
Professor Sylvain Charlebois says the cost of transporting produce across the border has doubled in the last 10 days, also impacting the supply chain.
Well, the convoy itself is not helping, to be honest. Disruptions are the last thing we need right now. We need fluidity.
Expecting there are still workers to transport goods. It's the time it takes them to get through the border crossing that could make scheduling complex. But reminding, we had a trucker shortage before the pandemic. Professor Wong saying our system is vulnerable because we don't keep much in storage.
So when we remove inventory, we remove a big chunk of the cost from the supply chain. But that requires us to be very, very efficient in terms of how we schedule delivery, schedule production, how we communicate with everyone. This system works really well in reducing costs, but it really requires a high-level coordination.
As for these pictures tweeted by Alberta's premier, his office responding to criticism in a statement, saying, "We are not encouraging panic buying. We even understand that there can be, in some cases, a legitimate argument for vaccine mandates, as we've done with our hospital workers with rapid test options," but hopes the Canadian and U.S. government will find a solution to support the supply chain. In Edmonton, Carly Robinson, City News.